common question I'm getting right now is how much rain we need to make up for our lack of rainfall this spring and going back to the winter with our recent drought. How much rain do we need to get rid of those water restrictions that we've already gotten that we're probably going to have? So let's start things off with where we're at. Since October the 1st, which is the start of the water year, we are at about a 3-inch rain deficit in Denver. This covers most of the Denver area and roughly the same numbers for us in the mountains in terms of precipitation. Most of the state running at about 40-50% in terms of the total water that we should have had since October the 1st. So we've picked up, in most cases, half or less than half the amount of water since October the 1st that we should have in that time span. So we need to make that up. Now, here's a little good news, is that we are heading into what is typically our wettest time of the year for Colorado, which is May, June, and July. But we, of course, want to go over on those numbers. So in Denver specifically, and you can extrapolate this roughly for the rest of the state, is we need to probably get about 10 inches of rain, total precipitation between now, late April, and the end of August, or about 12 inches of rain, snow equivalent between now and the end of September. Now, that might not sound like a lot. It is. On average, in Denver, we pick up about 14.5 inches of rain and snow equivalent precipitation per year. So we need to go over by about 3 to 5 inches in terms of those typical numbers that we get in May, June, July, August, and September. I'll leave you with a little bit of good news, is that if we can get that, the other bit of a bit more of a complicated factor, though, is that those reservoirs, of course, primarily in the mountains. So the mountains get their water during the May, June, July time period in a very different way. They mostly get it from the monsoon. So point being, while in Denver we might get a lot of rain, for example, in May and June, that might not necessarily help out with those water restrictions that we've got in the mountains, because they might not be getting their water. And of course, Denver, we rely on those reservoirs up in the mountains. So point being, it's a little complicated. I know I just threw out a bunch of numbers. Here's the overall takeaway that I would leave you with, is that in Denver, if we can get 10 to 12 inches of rain between now and the end of August, end of September, that would just about bust the drought. But that might not ease those water restrictions. If the mountains can get a good monsoon season, July, August, and September, that would likely ease those drought restrictions, but we're probably not getting rid of them, at least not anytime soon.